Let's bring Jessica I into the studio. You recall quite some time ago. Oh, wow, she really changed her look. Hi.
She look good?
Yeah.
If I saw her at a bar, I wouldn't be like, oh, she's a fighter.
Man, you look way better than the last time I saw you. No offense. I mean, don't kick my ass or anything, but
I'm a little bit more grown up now, I guess.
Oh, this hair color is really doing you good. Is this your natural hair color, or do you darken it?
Well, yeah, I tried to go blonde this past summer, and it was terrible. It was like the worst mistake I ever made, and it like ruined my hair.
You're too dark complected to go blonde. I mean, you have dark eyes, and you have, you have sort of olive skin or whatever. I mean,
yeah, I had a friend that does hair. God damn, I can't. My coat's all screwed up. But I have a friend that does hair, so she was just like, "Hey, let's do something different." So I definitely won't ever do that again.
No, this looks good. I like the
dark
the
works
dark
on her.
Oh
yes.
yeah, definitely.
That's your look. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad to know.
Good morning. Thank you for coming in. It's been a long time since you've been in here.
Yeah, it looks different in here.
Yeah,
it's completely different.
Cameras and TVs, and the floor was redone and all sorts of stuff. And we're actually getting ready to do a whole big renovation of this to actually make it look like a real studio instead of just these gray carpet walls. They're not really sexy, you know.
It still looks way better than it did from before, so good job.
And last time you were here, Charlie said he could kick your ass because he said he could beat a girl in a fight.
Yeah, he's still scared, never came down.
Yeah, you offered numerous times, come on down, just to do a couple of rounds of training or something, right? And
yeah,
he never showed up. Charlie?
Well, I kind of remember we actually had a date set, but she couldn't do it, remember? She had like a minor league fight that she had to show up. Like,
I came to Roverfest.
You did?
I was, oh yeah, I was there.
She didn't want to ruin her career.
Don't lie, Charlie. Remember, we saw each other. And you said, I was just joking, right?
Oh, what a puss. Wait a minute, puss.
So remember that?
That's because she wanted a street fight right there. I didn't want a street fight right there.
So she was just going to punch you out right at Roverfest.
I was a little afraid of that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a good... When you go to Roverfest, do you like party? Do you drink and stuff, or do you not?
It depends. I mean, on some of that stuff, like you guys had like announced that I was going to be there, so like I didn't really party because I feel like too many people want to watch and or just too many eyes on you. So
yeah,
if I do go out and I do get tipsy, like I usually try to go under the radar.
Do you drink? I mean, how often do you go out and drink?
It's comes in like stages because I have fights and usually those take camp. So a couple times a year, like I'll get like. For a month straight or 2 months straight, I'll be able to eat or drink whatever I want, and then I won't be able to for 3, 4
what
months
happens?
at a time.
Why can't you drink alcohol while you're training? What does it do to you?
It's like if you want to get in the science of it, it's called protein synthesis. Like when you drink alcohol that is gluten, because it's made from potatoes and certain things. It's got sugars in it, so it screws up like muscle build.
Oh, well,
so yeah,
very technical.
Yeah, I know it's all technical.
Hang on, let me wake up. No,
I know, right? It's boring. Basically, you just can't drink.
So you started. All right, let's go to the. When did you start training for mixed martial arts?
2008 was the first time I started training. It was like right before Thanksgiving. I was 19 years old when I started. And I'm 27 now.
Why did you? What made you decide that you wanted to do that? Because it's just not the kind of thing a lot of girls want to get into,
There's so many reasons. Like I was going to college. I lived on my own. I left home when I was 18, and I happened to meet people that were at Strong Style. I felt like at the time it fit like my lifestyle. It just fit that like I was struggling. I was trying to figure out my identity. I was trying to go to college. I was thinking about doing so many things, and excuse me. So I went down to this gym, started training a little bit, and then it just took off from there.
What was the reception you got at this gym? Now, Dieter trained at this Strong Style place. It seems like the guy who runs that really knows his stuff.
Marcus, yeah.
What was the reception that you got when you went in there? I mean, because here's a woman coming in there, or at the time, a girl, really.
Well, the only other female there was Elena, and she's the head GM now. She's Marcus's assistant. And she didn't even work out. So when I first came there, it was kind of like, well, what's this girl want? And women's MMA was still new. So when people seen me, they were kind of like, all right, is she fishing for a dude? What is she doing in here? Females don't want to get hit in the face. And at the time, I wasn't as muscular. I was definitely athletic. I always did sports, but I wasn't a fighter. I didn't fit that build when I first came in. They could tell that I kept coming back. I would get my butt whipped and I always came back.
Did they give you a harder time than they might a guy that just walked in there? Or do you think they went easier on you or about the same?
No. They were extremely nice to me, but everything was hard. I would get for I'd say a year straight when I really wanted to do this. I got my butt kicked. It hurt worse the first 2 years when I started than even now. They wanted to see if I would come back. And I did every single time. And I showed him that I was capable of MMA.
So you go in there at the age, what, 19, you said?
Yeah, 19.
All right. And someone told me that you got in a car accident, and that sort of led to you wanting to succeed in MMA. Or is that just made up?
No.
Is my research from Rob totally wrong, probably?
I think that people want that. People want that from me. They want to hear that I came back from a crazy back injury and I found MMA. I mean, it does have something to do with it, but, you know, the reality of the situation is just the lifestyle that I lived. My dad was a biker guy. He was a single father. I was raised to be extremely strong, and, you know, I broke my back. I was out for all those months.
Well, so you're in a car crash and you break your back in this? How old were you?
I was 16.
All right.
So I
you were
was a
driving?
sophomore. No, I was standing outside my car. A drunk driver hit me and my father while we were standing outside my car because it had broke down.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So he
what
destroyed
happened?
my dad's leg.
What happened? I mean, so the guy just, like, you're standing next to the car, you're on the side of the road?
Yeah,
and the car's coming. So the car's coming on the road, and they just
run. Yes. Well, okay. My dad's.
You flip over the car? Or?
Yeah. Oh, I do. My dad. Okay. My dad's truck was like this. My car was like this. He was in between. I was getting in the car. As I was getting in the car, the guy sideswiped me, and when he hit me, he like pushed my car and pinned my dad in between the vehicles. So like smashed his hands, hurt his like completely reconstructive knee surgery, hit me. I broke my back in 2 spots, and
so you flipped over the car.
Yes, I went up and over the car. So
could you move at did you get up, or did you just have to lay there in the middle of the street?
No, and yet again, I don't know if you guys remember my father, or if you guys ever got a chance to see him. My dad's like 6'4", so I'm laying there on the ground, and I can't move, and I just hear my eyes aren't even open, but I hear my dad yelling, and I can hear him trying to walk over to me, but his knee's completely screwed up. So he actually came over and woke me up, and that's when the guy that hit us. He was completely fine. There was nothing even wrong with him.
But he stopped?
He did stop, but he stood over top of us. Like, I'll never forget that, you guys. Like, he just stood over top of us, like, his hands in his pocket, and just looked at me and my father. My dad was like, I'm going to kill you. I was honestly waiting for my dad to go pull a gun out and kill this guy.
Did he have remorse, the guy? I mean, was he...
He was... I think he was in shock, you guys. Like, he legitimately just looked at me. It happened January 6th. God, almost 11 years now. But it was when the Browns were beating the Steelers in the playoffs, and they came back and they lost, and this guy was decked out in Browns gear.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. Like, I'll never forget the way his hoodie looked and just the way that he looked at us. He was just...
What happened to the guy? Did they get him for drunk driving or anything, or what happened?
Oh man, it's so crazy. He was 31 or 32 when it happened, and which is crazy because I have friends that age, you know, and I would always, you know, I think of it that way. But he was 32 years old, and the officer that showed up, which the trooper was an amazing man. And where I'm from, you don't have city cops, you know, it's sheriffs or troopers.
Out in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, it was Portage County, so there's nothing out there. So at any rate, the trooper doesn't read him his Miranda rights and do his pen test right. So the guy doesn't get charged for an actual DUI.
Wow.
So he gets away with the DUI, but he does get two felony 3s and 2 felony 4s for like attempted vehicular manslaughter for me and my father both.
Did you get some money like out of insurance? Did the guy have insurance and stuff? All right,
That's why I left house when I was 18. I didn't like the rules, so I had a nice little settlement chunk of money that brought me kind of up to this area.
Did you and your dad argue about who gets that money? Like he got his own money because he was injured. You got money because you were injured.
And our attorney got money too.
Yeah, a third of it, a lot.
Of course,
I'm sure.
They get a lot. Yeah, I got the least amount. I definitely could say that. But
so did you guys ever argue about money after you got that money?
I can't say it was directly about money. Me and my dad had our differences, but it was more like, at the end of when I was 18, it was, well, give me my money kind of thing. And we got in a huge argument. And then we quit talking for a good year after I received my money. And yet again, it wasn't, I can't say it was all from that, but it streamed from a lot of different things, you know, at that point.
Well, you said that your father, Jessica I, is here with us. And I guess she's promoting her clothing line, which she has. I'll talk about that more. I just looked down and saw that. You said that your father was a single father. What about your mother? What's the story with her?
You know, my mom and dad split at a young age, so you know, I didn't meet my real mother until I was 16 years old, And it's a story.
How awkward was that meeting her for the first time?
Well, it was pretty awkward. You know, when you hear someone call your name as you're getting off the track bus from a track meet, and you just look at someone and you realize that's you. That's a part of you. That's your mom. It was.
Did you immediately know? So she calls your name.
100%.
So she says, Jessica.
I look just
you
like
look
her.
over and you see this woman, and you go, "Oh my God, that's my mom, who I've never met before."
Yeah, and then I answered, was like, "You got to go because my dad's on his way to pick me up. So you got to go."
Did you had no idea that she was going to come and see you?
No, I knew that she had made at that point, you know, I wanted to meet my friends. I had a really awesome friend named Megan who made connections with my real mom at the time, and kind of put the 2 and 2 and told some information that was going on in my life, and she showed up randomly.
Were you angry that she showed up just out of the blue like that? No.
I'm not angry with her. You know, I think at times if you had talked to me when I was like at that age, maybe I was, and I could have gave you a better answer, but I wasn't necessarily mad. I was just like, you got to go. Like, my dad's going to be here any minute. You can't be here, so you got to go.
Why did she not? I mean, that's tough. Usually it's the mother that wants to be the one to raise the child. Why did she step out of your life?
It was just a bad split between my mom and my dad, and it just, you know, my dad's always been the breadwinner, always had the means to take care of me. Even he's just, you know, my dad was a steel worker. He always had a union job, always had money coming in.
They make pretty good money, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's retired from it now, and you know, bless his heart, he's got stage 4 brain cancer right now. So I mean, he's always been a hardworking man his whole life, but it was a terrible split between my mom and dad. I mean, we're talking like terrible enough to keep kids away from each other for years.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have an older brother, Randy, who we have the same parent. We share the same parents, and then I have 2 half sisters that we share the same mom, and then also one younger brother, Casey, who lives with me here up in Cleveland.
I never met my father. I'm like the opposite of you. I had a single mother, never met my father, and he died in prison, as a matter of fact. I found out during the show, actually, that he was dead. I looked it up.
Yep.
I was just here. I'm sitting here. We're on the air. I go, oh, my God, he's dead. But people would always say, oh, my God, you've never met your father. Don't you have any interest in meeting him? And I didn't. Were you curious about your mother? Did you want to meet her? Did you want to get to know her?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to know, like, a part of you, like, why you are the way you are. Like, I see why I'm like my father. I see why I'm tough like him. You know, I'm extremely athletic. But, like, you know, it was, they always would say to my dad, because my dad literally is like 6'4", beard, mustache, you know, crazy hair. And they would say, like, how do you have a daughter like her? You know, like, who? I just wanted to know who the other half of me was. I wanted to realize, like, who the other person was with me. And, you know, the older I've gotten now, I mean, it's crazy. We don't have the relationship I think that both of us want, but it is what it is.
Did you get along with your dad growing up? Because you wanted to get the hell out of there when you were 18.
Sometimes.
Why? Was it horrible?
My dad, I think we can understand that Midwest men that are steel workers, you know, hard-nosed biker guys, like he was just a tough man, and I was just sick of the toughness. I was sick of the tough love. I was sick of the hard grind from life in that way. And it's it's too much to go into detail, but it drove me to MMA, and I don't hate it for that, because I found what I love most, and I've been able to help people along the way.
I'm gonna give you a free therapy session here.
Okay.
First of all, have you ever gone to therapy?
One time, and I got really annoyed.
I don't really believe in therapy. I think people know what their own issues are, and why do you need to go to therapy and have someone else tell you? But you are going to be totally screwed up when it comes to relationships with guys. Totally.
I just don't go there. I just don't go there, to be honest. I have a group of great guys at the gym, and I love them to death. They really take care of me, but. I mean, everybody always says that, but maybe I'm terrible at picking up my brother.
Are you a lesbian? You're not a lesbian, are you? Because you don't seem like a lesbian.
No.
Are there a lot of girls in the like MMA fighters? Would you say the majority of the female fighters are lesbians?
No, I think it's a happy medium. I really don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it might
actually... You ever been in a fight and a girl's like pounding your brains in and she goes, "You're kind of hot. Let's hook up after this."
No female's ever done that to me. So I don't think that's ever possible.
In my fantasy world, that happens all the time. Yeah. They beat each other's brains out and then they go back to the hotel and they make lesbian love to each other. So but you say, all right, so yeah, of course you have a group of guys at the gym or whatever, but are you single right now? Do you have a boyfriend?
I'm single.
I read in an interview that you said you gave last year. You said, "I'm friggin' horny."
No.
Yes, you did.
That's the quote.
I'm gonna kill my buddy. I'm gonna kill Adam.
Yes,
no,
I
Adam.
have the quote.
That's not fair. Because you look, Adam, my buddy Adam, who's out in California, who wrote that article. He elaborated on it. He's the one who said that.
Sure, I'm single and horny 100%. It's been a long time.
Ooh.
No, that's so unfair. I hate that that's even out there because it's so not like me. He had said something and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like that. And then he's like, oh, so sure, you're 100% single and horny. That's not it. You know what? I'm not. That is like an open window. You know how many messages I know even from now I'm gonna get a million messages on my fan page and people are gonna be like, oh, I can help you.
Yeah,
Hey, want to see my?
I'll put you in a naked chokehold. But do you think that is because? So you say, oh, I just don't even go there. Do you think that's because you had this? It sounds like a relative. I'm not saying you had a horrible childhood. It doesn't sound like it was horrible. But you had a tough childhood. Your dad seems like he was a real pain in the ass. He sounds like he might be a good guy, but he didn't show you affection and love. It sounds like he was a hard ass.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely.
So you never had any sort of example of what a couple would be like, a mother and father, a relationship, husband and wife, that kind of stuff. You never saw that example, so you really have nothing to go by, and so you stay out of the whole thing. Not
necessarily, because I had a lot of really good people around me, like my friends' parents. You know, they always, as a young kid, the Litzinger family out there in Portage County, they took me under their wing, and I'll never forget. You know, Donnie and Kathy's relationship. Like, I remember as a kid, like, seeing these, you know, happy parents and stuff together. So, like, I understand what it is. Is it harder for me? Probably, because, I don't know, maybe I think like a man too much. Maybe I just know what people are capable of. And I just don't. Someone's gonna have to work really hard.
You need to get the right guy. I'll tell you what.
And it'll happen.
Here's the thing. A lot of times, guys would be intimidated by you.
100%.
The other thing is not even being intimidated by you, but the thing that would drive some guys crazy is that you're around guys nonstop.
I've had
in mixed martial arts, it's nothing but dudes.
Wrestling on the ground.
Right. And so they're all, you know, if a guy's insecure, he's going to think that you're hooking up with all of these guys. He's just, you know, it's going to be a problem.
It is. It has to. I always felt like it has to be someone that's going to be a part of the world that I live. You know, that's going to have to be involved and understand, or at least know the people.
Or the exact opposite, someone who's not into it at all.
Yeah.
You know. All right. So, well, speaking of that, so you are horny is basically what you're telling me.
No.
You're not horny?
No.
Do you get action?
I don't know. That's such a weird question to answer for me.
Do you have? All right, so you're single, but you're single. But do you have anyone that you sleep with? I mean,
no. Especially
you don't have any booty calls?
No. You know why? Because those are the same. Like, especially like the position I'm in. Like, people are gonna be like, oh yeah, like, yeah, I was with Jessica, and you know, talk that way. I don't want people to have anything on me.
You have to find a guy that would be completely on the down.
Do you really think that they exist?
Yeah.
Like, I know
First
how guys work.
I have a girlfriend. I would bang you out and not tell anyone about it.
Secret,
no. Listen, I hear that too much. I hear too much at the gym with these guys and hear the things that they tell me, and I know how it works. Somebody knows.
Let me ask you this,
something.
Because I've asked guys the same question. So you work out, then you go and you fight. How often do you fight?
This time so far I'm on schedule for 3 this year.
Okay, so every 3 or 4 months you're in a fight.
Yep.
All right. Leading up to the fight, then, do you stop diddling yourself in order so that you just have that pent-up rage?
It's the opposite.
You diddle more.
Well, no, it's not. I didn't say I diddle, but it's like the whole concept behind that. They say it's actually different. Like, it raises women's testosterone.
Oh, really?
For fights or for like
so
even
guys
for working
aren't supposed to do it. Guys aren't supposed to crank out because I don't know if the science. I've seen articles on it that debates whether that's really true or not.
You've seen it both ways.
Obviously, you don't want to crank out like an hour before you're going to go fight. But like sometimes these guys they'll go to the extreme. They won't do it for a month before a fight. And I've read articles that said, look, a day, 2 days beforehand, you want to have sex, go ahead. It's not going to affect you at all. But for women, it can actually be helpful. So does that mean you get out like a vibrator, like the night before your match?
I'm not going to go into that. There's too many people listening to the show that I know.
No one listens to the show. We're everyone hates us. She's crazy. I can just imagine too. She probably throws that vibrator. She's like, bitch. She's just so strong and violent. If it doesn't please her, she breaks it in half. When was the last boyfriend you had then?
It was a serious relationship probably like a year and a half ago.
What happened? How come you broke up?
Well, I was dating somebody and he wasn't right for me. And just too party going. You know, like it was just too much. Wanted to go out all the time and it just wasn't good for me.
Do you just like to stay at home and work out and that kind of stuff?
No, I like to, but like I get like I enjoy when I go out. I enjoy when I party because I feel like I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not doing it every day. Like I'm not like, oh, it's every Tuesday, every Thursday. Like every day of the week has something. Like no, life is not always a party. You
lost your last fight, right?
Yes.
What happened?
It was a split decision against a girl named Alexis Davis, which, you know, I don't agree with the split decision, but, you know, I mean, that's a part of the sport. You know, judging can go either way. It can go in your favor or it can go in the opposite.
Do you think that the judging is fair most of the time? I mean, obviously you're biased because you lost, so you go, it's not fair. But, I mean, generally, would you say that it's fair in mixed martial arts?
No, because it's based upon opinion. There's no true system. Like, you know, in wrestling, like say someone pins somebody, or
you get points for takedowns. You get points for pins.
You get points for takedowns, which you do in MMA. But like, you get points for like they call it riding time, or points for attempting something. And I don't feel like they have that in MMA. And really, with me, which really stinks in my last fight, it's what screwed me up in the second round. I was going against a black belt. And I was able to stop her from doing anything. I'm sorry, she was a purple belt. I was able to stop her from doing anything to me. So she wasn't submitting me. I wasn't taking any damage, but I was on the bottom, so it still looked like I was losing.
Like you were being dominated.
Yeah,
basically.
Like I was being dominated. But in all reality, she wasn't hitting me. She wasn't doing anything. I was just holding her there. So, you know, it's like I don't understand what these judges see. I don't understand what wins fights, and it sucks because you're at the highest level. Like, it's going to go to the judges sometime. Like, you're fighting with the best and the best of the world.
You've been in how many fights for the UFC now?
2.
Just 2. But you fought in other... I
fought in Bellator, which was on Spike TV.
What's the big difference between... what changes when you actually get into the UFC and that whole world? Is
everything.
It quite a bit different?
Everything. Like, for me, it was everything. It was I was getting promoted more. I was getting paid more. You know, they're sending me out of town to do seminars, to teach people at Fox. Like I was in California last week with all the Fox officials, teaching them MMA. Just the way that the whole procedure went. Like when you come in as a fighter, like there's a ride ready for you. They give you, money every day for food. They have everything set up for you, private little rooms to train in, and they just treat you so much better. Like it's true professionalism. So it's just like the NFL, just like the NBA. They have that stuff for you.
You fought in 2 fights. Mm-hmm. Do you have a contract with them where you have a certain number of fights that your contract? How many fights is it?
4. I have a 4 fight.
All right. How nervous are you right now? Because you lost your last fight. You won the first fight, but then the decision was invalidated or whatever. Okay, it was overturned. We'll get into that in just a minute. But you've lost the last one. How nervous are you that if you don't perform well in these next 2 fights, they may go, you're out of here?
You know what? I don't think so. I think that, I've seen some of the other fighters too, and considering what I know, what goes on with some of the other women, is that I've proved myself. Like all of my fights are very exciting. Anybody who's ever seen me fight, that's the one thing they can say is, I throw leather and I come to fight. And especially in this last fight, my first round and my third, if you ever watch the fight, you'll see it. In the third round, it's fireworks. I beat the snot out of her, and somehow that's the round that lost me the fight. Another judge gave it to her, but I think I'm fine. Dana White is very happy with me, and he's the owner. And, like I said, I was just with him last week, and they said I'm in no danger of losing my job by any means, but I have to pick up the pace a little bit more. I feel like I need to get a little bit more reckless.
What kind of dough are you making in this?
I'm making good money. I'm want to make
what's the
more.
Difference? What's the difference between if you would have won that fight or you lost that fight? I mean, you still get paid either way, obviously. But how much money did you lose out by losing that fight?
You know, I mean, there was definitely over 10,000.
Over 10 grand.
Yeah, over 10 grand. Which stinks, and that's the risk
Which
I take.
Is worse.
But this is my second. This is only my second loss.
Not
ever.
getting the 10 grand, or the fact that you lost.
To be honest, the fact that I lost is the hardest. Is harder. You know, I mean, you always get more money in life. Money's endless in this world. You can always go and get more money if you need it, but I can't take back that moment now. I can't take back the fact that I lost. I can't take that back now, and I hate it. I hate it. It bothers me so bad.
Guys hit on you all the time?
What?
Do they hit on you all the time?
That was so random. You just remember. I'm sorry, you screwed me up with the question. Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, I get it on a regular basis. I mean, I get people also say some really crappy things about me too, and they say I look manly. So it's, I mean, it's catch-22. It depends on what you like. You know, some people don't like.
Do you have huge?
Thick.
I mean, do you have like huge muscles? I mean, like when you're.
I'm a thick Midwest girl. You know, I walk around 150 pounds. I fight
How much
at
can you
135.
bench press?
See, it's so different for me. Like, I don't bench like that. But if you were gonna ask me if like what my isolateral presses are, I've gone anywhere from 35 to 45s. For individuals, which is like you're like this.
All right, I have no idea what the hell that means.
Dumbbells.
Yeah, yeah.
Dumbbells.
Right.
So what do you? So you take two dumbbells, and you're pressing them overhead.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you just do regular bench presses?
Because nothing I do in my sport will I be doing will be double handing. Like a lot of it's isolateral pressing, like isolateral movement. So like. I'll do all of my stuff out in front. So any of my pressing, like I want to do an individual hand because a lot of it's going to be happening. This person's going to try to push into me. I got to push back and then move them out of the way.
Do you know that girls do these Kegel exercises to work out their vaginal muscles? Do you ever do that?
What is that? I've never even heard of that.
Yes.
What? No, I don't.
Like you can do it right now. You can flex. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like I'm doing it.
Like the muscle to control your urine flow.
Yeah, like you can.
So you mean you just do a lower abdominal workout?
Yeah, girls do that.
I don't.
Girls do that in order so that they can, I guess, squeeze guys. You don't work out in that manner, huh?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that. I can't say I've heard of that one.
Jessica I is here. Evil Eye, UFC fighter. She has a new clothing line called Straight Outta Cleveland.
Yes, it's awesome. I'm so excited. I just launched it back in October.
StraightOuttaCleveland.com is the website address.
Yep.
Now, is this what kind of stuff is it? It is all different kind of stuff?
Well, it's going to be, I basically want to get behind all of Cleveland. And, you know, it starts with me. I want to start with other athletes. And I want recognition brought to the city. I mean, we have so much here. And I feel like Cleveland is really trying hard to be a better city and to be a better attraction to people. And Straight Outta Cleveland is to show like hard-nosed work. And that's kind of like where I've come from. You know, I've been doing MMA for 9 years and I've got myself to this point, and I want people to think of the clothing line as like the rugged, like our city, like we're hardworking. We don't care if it takes us years, but eventually we're going to be successful. So Straight Outta Cleveland.
All right, let's talk about this whole thing this weed smoking thing that you were involved in. All right,
man.
So you get it.
We really got to talk about it.
We have to, because this is, it's like peeling an onion. There's so many layers of this. So it's your first UFC fight. You win. You beat some broad. I don't know what her name is, but you win, and it's a decision. Then a while later, a month or two later, or 3 months, I don't know how much longer afterwards, but you fought in Texas, I think, and the Texas Athletic Commission goes, oh, by the way, that fight, that decision of Jessica I winning, we're taking that back, and it's going to be a no decision, correct?
Correct.
And then at that point, everyone goes, what happened? Was she on steroids, or she must have been doing something? It turns out that you failed some sort of drug test, and the rumors start swirling, right?
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of rumors. I mean, I've seen some crazy ones, and I think they still continue at this point. You know, a lot of people have speculated, obviously, steroids, which I'm extremely against. And, you know, regardless of what, you know, test I have failed at this point, like I still pride myself on being a good person and doing the right things, and you know I'm capable of making mistakes just like everyone else. So
then eventually it comes out that you tested positive for marijuana, correct?
Correct.
All right, let's start at the beginning. First of all, when this all happens and they take that decision away and this drug test comes back, what does the UFC do? Do they go, what are you, stupid? We just started. This is your first fight. What are you doing?
You know, the UFC stands by me because they know who I am, and it's, you know, it's kind of like looking, you know, at, you know, a track record. You know, I've got over 25 fights under my record as an amateur, as a boxer, as a professional, and you know, they understand.
But you know, you don't want to start. You don't want to start things off on the wrong foot with the UFC.
Are you kidding? I mean, this is. I think it all contests to me losing my fight. I made a mistake. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time and was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing at the time, and it showed. And I've dealt with it. It's been a really crappy road the past 3 months because of that. And it's hard for people to understand like where I come from. I've had people turn their back on me, and I've also seen people, you know, really shed light on what kind of.
What do you mean people have turned their back on you?
I have friends that have, you know, looked down upon me now that they think that I'm not as good as a person, and I'm just as good of a person because of this, because I'm willing to admit that I can make mistakes, and everybody who follows MMA knows how the test went and knows the stipulations of the test, and they can look at it and go, are you kidding? And that's how the UFC looked at it, is like, are you kidding me? This is what you're messing with this girl over? You know, like, this is what you're doing to this girl over this? It's not fair.
Now, all right, I want to ask you this, because I read somewhere that you said that you didn't smoke weed, that you got it just from being around someone smoking weed. Did you smoke weed yourself, or is the story accurate?
All I'm going to say is that I was doing the wrong things at the wrong time around the wrong people. It's something that I can't go into on a radio segment. Like I told you, I've come from a hard past, and I've been around things that I shouldn't have been around, and people that have had influence in my life, and it's taken a toll. And I thought for years I had those under control, and just so happened that the time in life when I needed it most for things to be perfectly smooth, they didn't go perfectly smooth for me.
So, all right, so obviously it's a sensitive subject.
It's extremely sensitive.
But
I was hoping you were going to be like, all right, we'll just pass on.
But let me sort of, for people, and then you can comment or not comment, but basically someone released a letter, and I don't know who releases this letter, but someone released a letter that you wrote to this Texas Athletic Commission. And basically, I'll paraphrase here, but basically you say...
You don't need to paraphrase.
Well, you want me to read it directly? Or?
No, I don't. I know what letter you're talking about, and which is really, which yet again is even more where I'm going into, is that, you know, I signed off. Every person in this world has the right, and you guys would know, is, you know, my HIPAA laws I can sign off on. And and that letter should have never been released.
Who released this letter? What happened?
A lady from the Texas Commission who was never supposed to release that letter.
Why would they do that? Why would they release it?
I don't know. There was a lot of things that didn't go the way that they were supposed to. There was a lot of things that, you know, that happened the way that it happened. I mean, I can't go on and I'm not trying to bash the Texas Commission, because I know my manager's probably at home freaking out right now as we speak. But you know, they didn't follow protocol on some things, and I'm going to capitalize on that as much as I can. And like I said, that letter should have never been released. It should have never seen.
All right, so let me ask you this. I won't even paraphrase the letter. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Anyone can probably Google it if they want.
I'd much rather them Google it than before my Twitter and my Facebook get attacked.
But let me just, I have to put it on the line. Is the stuff that you said in that letter true, or did you write this as a way to say, hey, here's a plausible deniability, plausible explanation for why I shouldn't have tested positive for marijuana? Or is the stuff in there true, or did you just go, hey, I could probably say this and get out of it?
Oh no, there's truth behind. There's truth behind.
So the stuff in the letter is true.
There's truth behind that. There is truth. There's a lot of truth behind a lot of the things that I do, and I mean, it's a very disturbing letter. It's a very disturbing letter, but I mean, there's also a very disturbing past behind me, and it's yet again, like I said, from even when we were talking at the beginning of our interview, is that, you know, I came from a very hard past, and I'm really working hard. I'm on my own. I have my own house over here in Parma. I'm 27.
27.
Mm-hmm.
You look good. I'm telling you.
Thanks.
I mean, seriously, you look better now than when you came in. What were you, like 22, 23 the last time you came in?
23 probably.
You look really good. And I have to say, for like a fighter, I think she looks feminine. She looks,
yeah.
I mean, she looks hot. You don't look like some of these behemoths that I see. Right,
Amazon women.
Oh my God, no! I can't believe you're single. You need to hook up with someone over there in Parma.
Yeah, it'll happen.
You need to do something.
I'll find a Parmenidian.
Listen, you need to get whatever. If this stuff that's in this letter, man, you need to. I don't know what to tell you. What sort of advice to give you, but
I don't need any advice. I just, you know what? At this point, like I told you from the beginning, or just a second ago, my father has stage 4 brain cancer now, and
what happened? What is it? How does he have brain cancer? Is it? I mean, was it something he did?
This just happened. This just happened the past couple of months. Within that time of October, within that time of that letter, within the time of all that, this all just happened again.
What do you think you got brain cancer from? Is it from smoking? Is it from something on the job site?
It's glioblastoma. It's a type of brain cancer that happens so fast. Some people, it can happen within a year, and some it can happen within a couple of months. I don't know how long, but my father did just have a baseball-sized brain tumor removed from his brain.
Is he going
the day before Thanksgiving?
Is he going to survive?
Yeah, he's working real hard right now. He's surviving right now. He's doing a great job. It is a stage 4 cancer, though.
What went through your mind when who told you? Did he tell you?
Yeah. Well, it's a sticky situation, but yeah, me and my father weren't really talking at the time. It was after my October fight, and his girlfriend Candy actually called me on the telephone and told me about it because I didn't know. When he had directly went in the hospital, the very next day he went into emergency brain surgery at the Cleveland Clinic.
What went through your mind when you heard this?
So many things.
Because you've had a very tumultuous relationship with this guy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot went through my brain. I felt bad about October. I felt bad because he wasn't at the October fight. So many things went through my head, Rover. I mean, I'm sure you can relate. I mean, you understand a little bit. Whenever your father passed, I'm sure you felt some kind of way. It's hard to describe, and never in radio am I gonna be able to get it across to people. But it hurt, regardless of whether or not he was ever wrong in anything, and whether or not I was wrong, because I was wrong too. Yeah. It still hurt. It still was bothersome that I'm a good enough person to say no matter what, I never want anybody to walk into a situation where they're facing death feeling bad about themselves. No one deserves that. No one. And I do love my father. And I've got one dad in this world, and no matter what, I got one of them. And I have to, fighting will go away. Everything else will end up going away. But there's only one Randy I, and there's only one of them, and that's my father.
What are you going to do when you can't fight any longer? I mean, because this, it's actually some of these MMA fighters, it seems like they can do it for a fairly long time, which to me is amazing. And maybe it's just because you're not fighting all the time. Like you look at football players, and most of them have a pretty short shelf life, I guess, because they're going out there week after week, and
the body breaks down. Yeah,
the body breaks down, and these fighters, they take pretty good care of themselves. Football players do too, but you're not fighting once a week. If you're fighting once a week, it probably lasts 6 months. But how long do you think you'll be able to do this, and what do you plan to do afterward?
I kind of have a plan. I've obviously got to the point that I'm at now, but I'm closer towards the end of my road. I have anywhere from 6 to a few more fights I feel like left in me, and I want to start doing some other things. I've got opportunities to make movies, do some personality on TV. So I'll definitely do something, in entertainment. Maybe I'll coach, maybe I'll manage fighters. I have some things, I think that I'll be able to approach more when fighting's not done. But I'm not done fighting. I don't feel like I have that out of me yet. I still have 2 more fights left in my contract. Like, in my mind, I'm going to fight 2 more times. I'm going to get another contract. I'm going to fight for the title. I'm going to get the UFC title, and then I'm going to bring it back here.
Who's the best?
And then I'm going to retire.
Who's the best girl, like, in the UFC right now? I mean, who would you have to take down in order to be the champion?
Ronda Rousey.
And
she's the champ right now.
Has she lost yet?
No, she's not lost. Yeah. She hasn't. But you know what, though? The difference between, I feel like with Ronda is that, I feel like it's the fighters that she's fought. And I feel like everybody fights everybody different. And it's proved with, other fights and just even men's sports that, we've seen a number 10 guy take out the number 1 guy. It just depends on that fight style. And I feel like I'm the perfect kind of fight style to match Ronda. I feel like I'm a hard striker. I'm your Midwest style, old school boxing, and she's your judo type, and I think that I bring something different to the table than some of the other girls do.
Do you think there's any added pressure for you as a woman to fight in the UFC, or any woman, because they like this Ronda Rousey. She's the one. She's kind of cute, right? Isn't she?
Blonde.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. You not only do you have to be a good fighter, but people want you to be sexy, right?
Well, I think that what's kind of cool about it is that it's since there's so many different females now, like everybody's allowed to have kind of their own personality. Like some girls play that like super sexy, like I'm gonna use my physique to bring people to my attention. Then there's the mix between where there's other girls that kind of float back and forth between the two. And then there's girls that, don't do it at all.
But how do you feel about it? Because no one ever worries about what the guys look like. You just worry if they're good fighters or not. For you women, it's different. People are judging you on your appearance and they want you to look good. How does that make you feel?
It doesn't bother me. I'm not, it doesn't. None of that bothers me in that sense.
Would you do like a bikini shot for Maxim magazine and stuff?
I would do, and I even said this. I even said that I would do a Sports Illustrated, but I would never. I shouldn't say never, but maybe long time down the road, the ESPN The Body.
Yeah.
I think the bikinis. I mean, that's
what about
normal.
Playboy? If Playboy came to you and they said, Jessica, we'll pay you $100,000.
For $100,000? No way.
How much?
No way. It's gonna have to be way more than that.
What kind of money are we talking about?
I mean, it's gonna have to be around $1 million for me to do it. Absolutely. I'm just saying.
Have you ever taken any nude photos of yourself?
No.
Yeah, she's
That's so terrible. That is so. What do you mean?
You're the worst liar in the world. Terrible liar.
Well,
She'd be great to date because you'd know if she was ever cheating on you. Are you cheating on me? No.
No.
Did you ever send those to anyone?
I mean,
Are they floating around out there?
relationships. Everybody's been in relationships. I mean,
I know, but I'll tell you something about me because I'm in the public eye that I have never. I'm not going to send like a penis picture to a chick because I know that's going to get out on the internet. It would immediately get out on.
Oh
the
yeah,
internet.
well no, I've never no frontal shots of me exist. No, nothing.
Back shots.
Yeah.
All right, so ass shots and that kind of stuff, and you'll send those to your boyfriend or whatever if you're dating a guy. Yeah.
That's what you do in your relationship, right? Shouldn't you be able to?
Have you ever made a full on like a homemade porno where he has his phone out and he's videotaping?
No.
You never done that? No. Come on, I don't know if I believe you.
No, I swear to you. Actually, I haven't. I actually just watched what was it? This movie lately where someone did that and it freaked me out. Just made me even think about even more like how people as like stars. That's why I won't just go out with anybody randomly. Yeah. I feel like they're going to be like, videotaping it or something.
Do you think that you're pretty good in bed?
I mean, yeah.
See,
I'm pretty good at everything I do, but I mean, that's such a hard question to.
There's a complete double standard between like girl fighters and guy fighters. Like I wouldn't ask some dude who came in here, "Hey, you any good in the sack?"
You're right.
No,
right.
Her, I'm interested to find out though. No, but because you are so, like in your fighting, it's a very aggressive in that. Is that how it is in the bedroom? Do you want the guy to be in control, or do you want to be in control?
I think it's situational. It's
what do you
it's
prefer?
Situational.
I wouldn't let you control me at all. There's no friggin' way I'd let a chick run things in the bedroom. Not a chance.
Robert, you wouldn't have a choice though with her.
I know she could beat me up, but no. In the bedroom, I'm calling the shots in the bedroom. Oh yeah. I'd have to start working out today to be able to throw her around.
But what if you met somebody that you were submissive to? It was just easy to be submissive to.
I don't see it happening because it just, I don't know. I just don't see that happening. I think for a guy should sort of be in control in the bedroom. I mean, if you want to do it every now and then, sure. But I'd never let a girl like run things in the bedroom or, even in general, like in life. I don't want a chick telling me like. I've seen guys. Dumb was married.
Yeah, but I'm not one of those
Dumb
people.
was married, and his wife ran the show. Like she paid the bills, she told him what to do, she gave him an allowance, and that was just so.
That's not fair.
Emasculating for a man, and he felt like garbage coming in here every day, didn't you?
Leave feeling the same way too. So it's good, good balance there.
Yeah. Which is worse, is marriage or working on this show? No, but I mean, do you want to be? Do you want the guy?
I'm not a controlling person like that at all. I'm actually probably like the complete opposite of that. Like I'm not. I have my own life. I have my own stuff going on. So like I'm just. It's probably my other problem is that I have been cheated on before because I just don't. I'm just very submissive in those ways. Like I don't care either. Like I don't need to pay your bills. Like what you do is what you do. That's your business. You be a grown man and take care of yourself. And
what'd you do when you found out the guy cheated on you?
I mean, this was younger. I was much younger, but I left him. I mean, I'm obviously not with him anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I threatened to kill the girl too. You know what I mean? I threatened to kill her. You know, even though like it wasn't her fault, but you know, we've all been there.
Did you get into any fights when you were a kid, like in high school and that kind of stuff? Did you? I mean, because now you're a professional fighter, but did you get into fights as a girl? Because most girls, I'd say 98% of girls have never been in a fight. My girlfriend never been in a fight ever. Nothing. Most girls have never been in a physical confrontation. Some, I grew up in Vegas, so there were a lot of girls that were in fights. I saw a lot of girls fight, but most girls have never been in physical confrontations. Did you get in a lot of fights when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, I mean, not ones that I ever got in trouble with, but like I had, you know, my brothers, and they were always tough with me. So I did get in one fight whenever I was in middle school. I think I was in 8th grade, and my friend's mom videotaped it out of the backside of her trailer. I still have it. It's like still in like one of those old-fashioned little.
Did you win?
Oh yeah,
you did.
Oh yeah.
So you were even winning fights back then.
Yeah.
What were you fighting over? Do you even recall?
Yeah, it was like over something stupid. Like, do you guys remember the grinds? Those grind nightclubs?
No.
Well, there was like a teen nightclub, and like someone was like trying to hit on my brother, and like I knew she was like a snot-nosed brat, and I didn't like her, so I was like, stay away from my brother. And then it got into like this big argument.
Right?
Oh yeah, it was so stupid back then. And I got actually one, probably I was 21. No, I was 20. It was right before my first fight, and I got in trouble. I got thrown out of the Barley House down in Akron because some girl tried to pull my friend's hair, and next thing you know, I was like rear naked choking. I rear naked choked the girl. She had like a hold of like my ponytail on this side. And then,
but you weren't like a bully in school.
No way.
Like
I was actually the complete opposite. Like I always helped the girls that got like bullied. I was friends with everybody. I was always known to be that kind of person in high school. Like I was friends with everybody. I played every sport. Was always cool with everyone, and it didn't matter.
Were people mean to you at all because you played all the sports? Did guys like call you, hey, you dyke, and that kind of stuff?
No, the guys weren't. I you know, a lot of my female friends would go back and forth because I was always cool with the guys. Like I could always get along with them. So like some of them, you know, would get upset that I was so cool with the guys. And there were also, you know, times that I remember when my freshman year when I came into high school, you know, of course I was this freshman, like all the senior guys were like, oh, she's cute. And my brother was a senior. So my brother's like, stay away from my sister. And there was a girl that I didn't get along with that we just terrorized each other. Like I put Mr. Yuck stickers all over her locker. Like we would just go back and forth because she didn't like me and I didn't like her, but it was because I was the new cute freshman, I guess.
So you had these older brothers who kind of looked out for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dieter, how old do you think she was the first time she was with a guy? You think this is a good question because she had those brothers and they probably beat someone's ass if they found out that they were tapping that, you know?
Probably have to be once they were out of high school.
But it also sounds like she sort of had like this crazy childhood, like, you know, like doesn't sound like it sounds like she might have been younger. What do you think?
No, older. Once they get out of high school, she was there by herself.
You think she was out of no?
No,
how
the
old
brothers
was she?
were out of high school, so they couldn't protect her anymore.
So when she was a sophomore,
I'd probably say 16.
I say 15.
I'd 16.
16. Oh, good job, Dieter. Good job. You weren't her first, were you?
No,
you didn't
I
know.
wish.
Oh, this one. Okay, trick question. All right, Jessica. Well, listen. Her clothing line, straightoutofcleveland.com. Do you guys have stuff up for sale right now?
Yeah, you go to straightoutofcleveland.com or jessicaevileye.com and you can get stuff off the website. But I'm gonna make sure you guys get some T-shirts.
Yeah.
We're gonna send them in to you guys so you have them.
Someone said they tried to go to the website and they must have spelled it wrong. It's Outa is just it's like straight out of Compton. OUTTA.
Oh yeah.
Straightoutofcleveland.com is her clothing line. You making any good dough off of this yet? Or?
We just started it, and you know I'm just kind of letting it ride, and we're trying to get other athletes involved in this area too, and I'm trying to get it out to everyone.
When's your next fight?
We're thinking around June, so probably around summertime again. You know the UFC, like I said, I was out there with them in California, and they are super excited. So they're like, just stay ready for you.
I talked to a girl. I mean, not a girl. I talked to a guy at the UFC. He told me that they're working on doing a UFC here in Cleveland. Is that true?
Yeah, they've been working on Cleveland for a while. Actually, after my October fight, we did this big thing with the Browns. Like, we did a whole tour. We went to, you know, the Cleveland Clinic. It's just a matter of them getting here. They are going to be here in, I think, May 10th in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of time.
All right.
Next year, hopefully.
Jessica I. What's your website? JessicaEvileye.com?
Yep, JessicaEvileye.com.
Or straightoutofcleveland.com. Jessica, thank you for coming in.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
having
it. You're pretty open. You're good. Good interview. All right, I have to take a quick break. We'll be right back on Rover's Morning Glory. Hang on.
Rover's Morning Glory.